I just want everyone to remember that every Tuesday I'm going to be giving you guys a Walking Dead review. So guess what? Today's Tuesday, so Walking Dead review time. This one was pretty good. This one's is season 2, episode 3, and it's called Save the Last One, and it came on October 30th, 2011, so the day before Halloween. Um, and I guess this is kind of like a 1 year anniversary kind of show since it was out for a year. Really didn't stay running for a year, but it was out for a year. Um, the episode starts out, it shows Shane getting showered and stuff, and then he ends up shaving his head, and you get to see him with his bald head, and I actually thought he looked pretty badass with a bald head. I thought he looked pretty cool. At first I didn't care for the intro, but then later on it makes sense. And then it cuts into the real life version, and Rick is telling a story about how Shane snuck out of lunch to steal the, I think he said the principal's car, and he left like a trail so he can get back to the school, because I guess he walked back, and he ended up walking back, and then he made it back to lunch, and then he told the principal that he's and then he told the principal that he left school, that his car is not in the parking lot, and I'm kind of tired today, so I'm not really focused. So because I worked all day today, so if I'm not really into the review, it's because I'm tired. But what I'm trying to remember what happened. Oh, and then Rick's like, he was telling Lori the story, and like, I probably told you the story 1,000 times. And then Lori's like, yep, and she acted like she didn't want to hear the story. I don't know if it's because she's heard it so many times, or because she's not a fan of Shane. She's not a fan of Shane, so she's not a fan of Shane, so she didn't really find the story too amusing. But as he was telling the story in the beginning, it showed Shane and Otis, Otis is the guy who shot Carl, trying to escape the walkers in the high school, and then they talk about and then Rick has to give more blood, and then back at the LV, Dale's keeping watch, and then we see Dale's trying to go to bed, and I don't really, and Sophia's mom, I think her name's Carol or something, I forget her name. I always forget her name. Is still crying over her daughter's loss. It's, I mean, like I said, I'm tired. And then I'm trying to, and so then Dale just goes out to look for the Sophia, and then Andrea goes with him. Andre, it's the same name, pretty much. And then I'm just gonna talk to you about their journey right now, because I don't really feel like going along. I'm too tired for that. So then they're walking in the woods, and Dale tells a story about when he got lost, how his father like ended up meeting a waitress, and then he ended up having to wipe his ass with some sort of poison. I don't remember what it was, and she laughs at him, and then they walk by and see this zombie hunt to a tree, and we found out it was some walker who got bit, and he ended up giving up, so he hung himself. I don't know, and even Dale's like, why didn't you just shoot himself? I mean, because now when he hung himself, he pretty much is stuck there now. And then he asks Andre if she still wants to live, and she says she's not really sure. She feels like it's just instinct, that's just something that she's used to living. This was all for an arrow, and Dale's like, that wasn't really an answer, so he ends up shooting the zombie anyways, which was a waste. Then they get back. Dale apologizes to Andre, or Andrea, whatever, and she gives her back a gun, says, I've been making choices that I don't mind to make, and then Andre says that she's gonna try to forgive Dale. Then back at the house, well, Glenn and T-Dog get to the place, and T-Dog gets medical treatment, and Glenn's playing, and then forget her name, but one of the girls come out that was helping T-Dog out, says talk about how you should believe in God. You can believe in God, but you also need to have a little faith. You need to make good things happen. And then Lloyd and Rick are fighting about why Carl should live, whether or not Lloyd doesn't think it's a good idea for him to live because he doesn't think this is a good lifestyle for him to have to survive all the time, to see people get shot, to have to go hungry all the time. So she says he's going to be like an animal that only knows survival, and Rick doesn't want it. So Lloyd says, why not just let him die? It was kind of a sick thing to think, I thought. And Rick's like, no, this is worth living for. And she even talked about how Jackie doesn't have to see any of this. It looks like there is another way. There is something worth fighting for. Maybe there's another place that we can go to. And Lloyd's like, why don't you give me a reason why you should live? And Rick can't think of anything. And then what ends up happening is Rick, Carl ends up waking up from being passed out for so many times. He talks about the deer that he met before he got shot, and then he goes into a seizure. It was bad. And so then Rick had to give more blood, who was supposed to go into a coma, and then we didn't see him for a while. I thought he had to actually ended up going into a coma, but he didn't. And then Rick talked about how there is something to survive, because after all this, Carl just thought of the deer. He didn't think of anything else. So maybe there's something better than this, but we just have to pull through this part of the world, or maybe there's something better than this. And when Shane and Otis don't make it back with the stuff that he needs to put him under, so the doctor can do the surgical stuff. I think his name was Hershey. They agree to have him this happen, and then this is earlier in the scenes, like way earlier. Shane and Otis are trying to fend off the zombies. So Shane goes out one of the windows, and Otis can't go out of it because he's too fat to do so. And then so he distracts the zombies so Shane can make it out. He covers them, shoots them with a gun. Some of the zombies don't get distracted, so Shane takes him out, and then he has to go out the window, but it's 20 feet. So at first he's a little scared, but then a zombie tries to attack him, and Shane shoots him with like a pistol. And then Shane falls one on his leg, so his leg gets hurt. So then Shane's is pretty much limping, trying to get away from the zombies. And then Otis finds him, and he helps him out. And they don't have any really bullets left, not many. And then they're just walking down, and Shane's like, go on without me. And Otis is like, come on, I'm not leaving you. And Otis says, they both say that they only have, well, Otis has 5, I think Shane has 4, it was the other way around. And what ends up happening is when Shane got back to the Hershey's house, or Herschel, it was that name. He's like, Otis didn't make it back. He tried to, he sacrificed himself for me. So then they find the medicine, and then Otis's wife finds out. She ends up crying. Carl ends up being okay though. And then Lloyd wants Shane to stay. And even Shane's like, I made everything right. And then we see that earlier scene from the intro when Shane ended up shaving his head. And then he has like a flashback of what happened between Otis and Shane when they were walking away from the zombies. And they each only had 1 bullet left. And Shane looks at Otis and says, look, I'm sorry. And then he shoots his leg, and he just completely throws Otis to the zombies, pretty much. He throws them to the walkers. And Shane ends up running away, and the walkers eat him. And that's how it is. He was having the flashback as he was shaving his head, and Shane even had a scratch on his head. But yeah, I was actually shocked that happened. I thought Shane just seems like he's a villain. Um, I wonder if Shane just, unless Shane was doing that maybe so that he could escape, because they probably weren't going to escape. But it was really a villain thing to do. That's something a villain would do. He pretty much just killed his own men. Yeah, Shane ended up killing Otis. It was a shock. I wonder if they're ever gonna find out about this. But yeah, at least it got called okay. But I don't know. That's all I really have to say though. Sorry, this review is not really good, but I'm really tired. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I'll be back next week to review another Walking Dead. Hopefully, I'll be more wide awake for it.